Hi everyone. To begin, I'd like to tell you a story that I normally won't tell anyone about it. It's a story about my friend, and for the purpose of the speech, I'm naming him as Liam. I've known Liam for about 6 years now, and we have been close friends throughout middle school and high school. When I first meet Liam, he's the most kind-hearted person I ever know. He always had that happy smile on his face every day to school. I always thought that Liam was the most happiest person in the world. But in the end, I don't know Liam quite well after all. For the last 2 years, I became to realize that Liam has multiple problems in his life, from school lives and family problems. And do you know what Liam turns himself into? He turns himself into being addicted to drugs and alcohol. When I first listened to this from Liam, it makes me feel so bad that I couldn't be there for him through his hardest time. And so it made me realize that mental health problem is actually a big thing in this world. Before growing up, I always had the mindset that people said that mental health problem is something people use an excuse for them not to be okay. But after talking to Liam, I know that it's actually a big problem in this world. And statistically wise, 1 out of 4 adults in the United States also face the problem of mental health. Over the last 2 weeks, I've sent out surveys to the people around me and realized also that more than 50% of the people around me also used to face mental health problems once in their lives. Although mental health problems have been around for centuries, we still have a hard time understanding about it. So this brings me to the question of how can we as a society better understand each other's mental health problems? Before I answer this problem, I'd like to invite you on a little journey with me. Here we have a little gray dot surrounded by this darkness. The gray dot represents a place of happiness. Meanwhile, the darkness is a mysterious place. I'd like to imagine that you are the citizens of this gray dot, and you never know what is inside that darkness. But today is a special day that I would like to invite you guys to explore the darkness with me. So let's the journey begin. So we're going to start from the ground up and slowly make our way up and travel the darkness. Now we're about halfway through our journey. The journey has been pretty boring, but except we found a tiny little star. The first question to you is, do you still want to keep going on this journey? It's been pretty boring, except this tiny star. Or would you rather just go back to the gray town, the place of happiness where you came from? If you decide to keep going, let's resume our journey. So you're just going to keep exploring the darkness until we meet the star. What do you guys notice about the star? The star is pretty sad and lonely. But do you guys know why is the star sad? This brings me to the second question of, do you want to know more about the star? Would you rather spend time with it more, or would you rather just drop the ball and go back to the gray town? Now that I have said these things, most of the people here are probably wondering, what is this journey I'm talking about? Is it just random kids exploration, or anything I'm saying randomly? However, in this journey, there's 2 types of people. There's Group 1 and Group 2. Group 1 is the citizens of the gray dot, which represents people without mental problems, and they have all the happiness in this world. Meanwhile, there's the people of Group 2, which is the people like the star, which currently is facing mental problems. And as we know from the start, that most of us would say that we are in Group 1, but the statistics say that 1 out of 4 of us are in Group 2. Next, I would like to bring you back to the question of how can we as a society better understand the problem of mental health. In order for us to answer this question, we must take things perspective of both the group. And there will be 4 topics that I will discuss with you guys today. So the first one is opening up. Growing up in an Asian family, opening up to other people about your problem is probably one of the hardest things you could imagine doing. However, in solving mental health problems, we have to be open to one another. For the people in the gray dot, we must be open to get out of their comfort zone and go and try to help other people out. Meanwhile, for the people of the dark surrounding like the bright star, we must be able to open to express your feelings to others and let them know that we are struggling. Next thing is assumption. Having assumption is both good and bad things when we talk about mental health problems. For people in the gray dot, we must have good assumptions like the person we're helping will finally overcome their problems. But if we constantly have assumptions that the people we're helping will never stop being lonely, that we're like the people who stop midway through our journey and just go back to their happiness. Meanwhile, for the people in the dark surrounding, like the bright star, they have good assumption about themselves, like tomorrow I'll wake up happy again and do something that will potentially make the world better. Meanwhile, if they have assumption like tomorrow I'll wake up crying and depressed, then they already have the mindset that tomorrow they'll be depressed. So the third thing is trust. Assumption and trust lies closely to one another. For people in the gray dot, we must have trust in the people who we are helping that they will be able to overcome this problem. Meanwhile, for the people in the dark surrounding, they must have trust in others that they can keep their secret and they themselves can overcome the problem. The final thing is courage. Everything in life takes courage, no matter you like it or not. So, first thing first, for people in the gray dot, they must have courage to spend some time with others and talk to them about their feelings. Meanwhile, for the people in the dark surrounding, like the bright star, they must have courage to overcome their problems and also quit things such as drugs and alcohol, which is hard, but with courage, they can definitely do it. To conclude, mental health problem isn't something that we can just get rid of in this world. There is no vaccines for mental health. It requires everyone's contribution to make a change. And in the end, improving mental health will show the strength of who we are and how humanity can push forward together as one. Thank you.